Hello guys, welcome once again to my channel. This evening we are just going to make some quick egg gravy to go with yam. I went to the African store and then I found out that the new yam is in, so I decided to go for yam for dinner today. And to that, let's get started. We have onions, we have habanero pepper, we have a thumb size of ginger, and we have some maggi cube here. We have some, this is two medium size chopped tomato. I'm going to be using geisha mackerel, and for this recipe I'll be using palm oil. So this is about a cup of palm oil, and I'll be using 4 eggs for this recipe. Then we have our yam. It's already washed, so let's go ahead and get started. In the pot I'll be adding my palm oil. Palm oil usually doesn't keep long before it becomes extremely hot, so I wouldn't be heating it for long. And I'll go right ahead and add my onion. While we are frying our onions, we'll be frying our onions for about 3 minutes. So while we're frying our onions, we'll go ahead and blend our blendable ingredients. Our ginger has been frying for about, our onions have been frying for about 2 minutes roughly. I'm going to add our chopped tomato. Now I used 1 extra tomato to add to the ginger and pepper and garlic to be able to blend well. Otherwise I will have to add water, and I don't want so much water in my food, so the other option was to use tomato to make the content enough to cover the blades so they're able to blend very well. So we'll be frying this for about 2 to 3 minutes, and then we're going to go ahead and add our contents that is in the blender. After 2 minutes now, I'm going to go ahead and add our blendables. This is why I didn't use water. You can see that the content has no water, and this way you wouldn't need to spend a longer time cooking. It saves gas and it saves time. So now that this is in, I'm going to let this boil. The oil is plenty, and that is because I'll be adding eggs to it. When the eggs are added, you will see that the oil content wouldn't be so much. So I'll let this simmer together for about 2 to 3 minutes. And whilst this is boiling, let's go ahead and peel our yam. Go ahead and peel our yam while we wait for our stew to boil for 2 to 3 minutes. See, it's very new. The yam is just only me, so my daughter, she prefers it fried. The good thing about washing before peeling is that once you wash before you peel, you do not have to wash anymore. And that is completely by choice. If you want, you can still go ahead and wash it after peeling, but I don't wash my yam after peeling. And sometimes too, I just, depending on my mood or whatever flavor I want, I cook it with the peels, and when I finish, I peel them cooked. So as you can see, there's no dirt on the chopping board or even think the yam is too much. Okay, let's see. This has been boiling for about 3 to 4 minutes right now. There's still water content there, but we can go ahead and add our mackerel. I'm using the small size of the geisha mackerel. We can add our maggi cube. I'm adding about half size of the big one. Also, while this is cooking, we're going to go ahead and turn on the stove onto our yam. A little bit of salt to taste. That's just about half teaspoon. I'm going to go ahead and crack up our eggs and beat them into whatever desire we want before we put it into our stew. I'm using 4 eggs. That's a medium size eggs. You can use more if you want. Also the whisk, you can decide to go with the egg whisk, but I am using the fork today because I don't want to over whisk it. I'm just trying to mix the yolk with the white. As you can see, I'm not adding salt to the egg because I already added salt to the stew. But you can taste your stew to see if the salt is not too much or it's not to your desired content. You can add a little to the egg. But mine is okay for me, so I'm not adding salt to the egg at all. One thing I forgot to mention is that I used the mackerel. That's why I didn't use tomato paste or sauce. So the mackerel gives me that color in the stew that I want and consistency. But in place of the mackerel, you can use the tin mackerel. You can go ahead and use smoked mackerel. And if you're using that, you may want to add a little bit of tomato paste, which is also completely optional. It makes the stew sour anyway, so I usually try to avoid it. Otherwise, if you want, you can add tomato paste to it at the beginning, but I am not using tomato paste. So right at this point, this is okay. I'm going to go ahead and add this to our stew, and when that is done, we are going to cover it and allow it to do its job whilst we clean up a little. I'm not going to stir this right away. I'm going to lower the heat here and I will cover this up and allow it to cook. So it's been exactly 2 minutes now, and this is the reason why I didn't stir my eggs. See? So at this point we can go ahead and add the rest of our onions. I like onions. If you want, you really don't need to add any onions anymore. It's completely optional, but I love onions, so I'm going to add these because I don't want them overcooked like the ones that are fried. And we're also going to add some bell peppers for garnishing purposes. Again, that is optional. I usually use green bell peppers for this purpose, but today these are the only bell peppers I have at home. So we're just going to turn it over, and then at this point you can literally turn off your fire because the egg is cooked, but I'm just going to let it simmer for a while. Our yam has been boiling for about 8 minutes now, and when I checked it, it is cooked. So we turning that fire off, and then we are going to go ahead and serve our meal. As for the stew is fully cooked, so I'm also going to turn that fire off at this point. Just look at that. If you're using the medium size egg, you can use, for this recipe I ended up using 5 eggs instead of the 4. So if you're using large, you can extra large, you can use 4, but if you're using medium, you can use 5 or more, depending on how much you want your stew. The quantity also matters. When I prepare something like this, I usually eat for a week, because mostly things like this is just me who eat. My daughter doesn't eat it, so she'll eat the egg. If you give her this food, she will select out the egg and leave every other thing that is in the pot for you. So I only share this food with her when I'm in a good mood and I don't want to fight her. Otherwise, I'll end up yelling at her. And to be honest, she doesn't even really like it. If I gave her this yam, she wouldn't eat. She would, as I said, she would just eat the egg. So in this case, if I'm going to eat and I want her to partake with me, I won't even serve her the yam at all. Maybe just one piece of yam, and then I'll just serve her a lot of the gravy, since I know she likes the egg. So guys, our food is ready and I'm gonna go ahead and serve. Oh, I'll also be eating this with colored greens. I love my greens. Now what I do with the colored greens is that greens is hard to cook, like it's hard. So I had to pre-steam it with salt for about 5 minutes and then sieve it. That's all I did with it. And here you are, guys. So this, and we are enjoying this with my homemade pineapple and pawpaw juice. I will leave the recipe for this and the procedure in a separate video for the homemade pineapple and pawpaw juice. Thank you so much for joining me today, guys. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe and hit the notification button so you don't miss out on anything I post. Give a comment below. Let me know how you prepare your egg gravy. I went with egg gravy today. Let me know how you prepare your egg gravy, or what you will add to this stew, or what you will take out of this plate right now. Thank you so much, and keep loving one another. Stay safe out there, and remember that God loves you the greatest. Love always conquers everything. When the going gets tough, the tough keeps going, but even the weak can keep going when you have God at your side. Thank you so much. I love you guys, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye.